हम श्री गुरु श्री गुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्री रूपम साग्रजातम सहगन रघुनाथान्वितम तम सजीवम साद्वैतम सावधूतम परिजन सहितम कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। Okay, Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. So today is the session 8 of the life and teachings of four Vaishnava Acharyas. And today we will be I will be discussing about the teachings of Ramanujacharya in more detail and in more researched way. So I have done some more research apart from this book which is written. Since this book is written based on the essays of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to just write some type of overview and not give so much of details. And he used to explain this in very simple terms so that the devotees who are staying in Bengal, they could understand. So that's why sometimes in order to understand the philosophy given in this book, we have to refer some of the websites which are designed by Sri Ramanujacharya. Those who are like, they have explained the philosophy properly, and they have given more intricacies, more clarifications with proper terms. So yes, that's what I have done in this class of today. So today we will be again revisiting, we will be again hearing and trying to discuss the teachings of Ramanujacharya. And tomorrow we will be discussing the life of Madhvacharya. Okay. Yes. So what are the contents of this today's class? First of all, we will try to understand the meaning of the word Vishishtadvaita. What is the meaning actually? Vishishta plus Advaita. Then, secondly, we will be discussing the Vishishta Advaita philosophy in whole. Okay, what it is actually, and what do Ramanujacharya mean by that? Why just did not he explain the philosophy by the some other terms, or maybe Dvaita Advaita, or just telling that there is Dvaita and Advaita? Why he's using the term Vishishta? Okay, so that would we will be discussing. Ramanuja's Siddhanta regarding Jiva, okay. Then Ramanuja's Siddhanta regarding Ishvara, and Ramanuja's Siddhanta regarding the Prakriti or Jada, Prakriti, inert matter. On the 6th, we will be discussing the understanding of Parinamavada or Shakti Parinamavada. Okay, what it is actually Shakti Parinam, and his viewpoint regarding that. 7th, we will be discussing the process of worship which is being followed in the Sampradaya of Ramanuja. And at the last, we will be discussing what is the ultimate goal of life, which is being set for all those who are following the Ramanuja Sampradaya. Okay, I hope it's clear. Yes. So, what is the meaning of the word Vishishtadvaitavada? First of all, we have to break the word Vishishtadvaita. So there is a samasa, and that samasa is called Shashti Tat Purusha Samasa in Sanskrit grammar. In Sanskrit grammar, samasa, it means compound words. In English also we have compound words. For example, we have wholesome, or there could be some other compound word. If anyone can remember some compound word in English, any compound word? It is made up of two words. For example,
Prabhuji, like breathlessness.
Restlessness. Actually, this word is not having any. It's not a compound word. but the rest is there, and lessness, they are just the pratyayas or the suffixes. So anyway,
Okay.
I'm not able to remember what can there are so many, there are many actually compound words there in English also. So similarly, in Sanskrit grammar, there are many compound words, and when we break the compound words, okay, in Sanskrit, then there is something called vigraha, okay, or the explanation of that samasa. So Vishishtasya plus Advaita becomes Vishishtadvaita. Now Vishishtasya is the Shashti Vibhakti or the sixth case in Sanskrit grammar. There are totally seven Vibhaktis, seven case endings, and among them, sixth Vibhakti is Vishishtasya. Okay, that means of Vishishta. For example, Ramasya, that means of Rama. Okay, similarly, and then plus Advaita. Now here, Advaita means oneness. Okay, oneness. And Vishishtasya means of the Lord who is qualified. Who is qualified. So there are two terms, try to understand. Visheshana and Vishishta. So Visheshana means adjective or qualifications or qualities. And Vishishta, it means one who is qualified. One who is qualified by those qualities, that is called Vishishta. And here we are referring to the Lord. So the person who is qualified, that is Lord. And with that, there is oneness. With that, there is oneness. So now you could not be able to understand fully actually what is happening Vishishtadvait. But gradually, as we delve into the intricacies, then we will try to understand in detail. Yes. So the Lord is qualified, okay, but how is qualified by what? The Lord is qualified by a body or a sharira constituted by the animate chit souls and inanimate achit universe. So all the energies are there within the Supreme Lord. The Lord is supreme energetic, and energetic will have all the energies. Okay, the Supreme Lord's body, transcendental body, in that all the energies are samavesha, or they are existent within the Supreme Lord's body. Now, it does not mean that because chit or achit is there within the Supreme Lord's body, it means that Supreme Lord's body is affected by the material inebrities or material qualities. No, the energies are there within the Supreme Lord, but the Lord is unaffected by them. And through that energies, Lord is qualified. What are the qualities? The energies. And the Lord is the possessor of all those qualities. That's why Lord is called Vishishta and the energies are called Visheshana. Okay. Now, the Vishishtadvaita philosophy. So the supreme absolute truth is Saguna Brahman. Okay. Not Nirguna Brahman, but Saguna Brahman. In Mayavada philosophy, the people, Shankaracharya established that Brahman is Nirguna, Nirakara. There are no forms, no qualities. Okay. But this is not possible because in the material world, we can see that everything has a quality. So how come something which is a reflection of Brahman, and these are all forms of Brahman, they have qualities, and the Supreme Brahman, it does not have quality? How come this is possible? This is not at all possible. If something which is there in effect, then that effect qualities, that they should be there definitely in the cause. And this is the logic given by all the Acharyas to refute Mayavad. For example, this book is there. It has so many qualities. For example, first quality is that it has 200 pages. And the front cover is having yellow, having the yellow color. And it has the image of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. And in that way, there are many qualities. And if they say that these are just some type of Brahman has taken the form, this material world is a perfected reflection of the Brahman, and ultimately this is going to be merged in Brahman. How come? Because these are having so many qualities, and there is so much of variegatedness in the universe. So definitely there should be variegatedness in Brahman. And that's why, according to the Vishishtadvaita philosophy, it is stated that supreme absolute truth is Saguna Brahman, or the Brahman with many countless qualities, countless auspicious attributes. And it is a qualified whole of which Brahman is the soul, okay, and the Jiva and Jagat constitute the body. Okay, the Supreme Lord in Vishishtadvait, what is their ideology? That they consider the Brahman to be the soul, and the Jiva and Jagat they consider the body, or the energies are there within the Supreme Lord, which has an inseparable relationship with the whole. So, though it is a non-dual whole, yet it is characterized by internal differences in it. But it does not mean that Jiva and Jagat, they are within the Supreme Lord's body, so they are inseparable. Like they are one only. No. The energies and energetic, they both have different existence, and simultaneously they also have similarity or this sameness. And they are non-different in the sense that energy cannot exist without the energetic. So this is why this one reality is called Vishishtadvait, means qualified non-dualism. So because Jiva and Jagat, they are the energies, even though they have separate existence, but since they are the energies and they reside, they are there in the Supreme Lord's body. And these energies, they cannot exist independently out of the Supreme Lord's body. Ritertham yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tadvidyan atmano mayam yatha bhaso yatha tamaha. There can be nothing which exists separate from the Lord. Everything is dependent on the Lord. And still they have existence in individuality. Here the non-duality or non-dual reality is made known by its qualities. So the soul and the world are of two different natures. And these two kinds of entities are distinct yet real parts of the whole. So totally, three truths are being accepted in Vishishtadvaita philosophy. What are those three truths? First is Chit, second is Achit, and third is Ishvara. Chit means soul, the spirit soul, we living entities. Achit is the Jada Prakriti, which is material, which is devoid of any spirit. Opposite of spirit is Jada or matter, inert matter, devoid of any knowledge. And they have two different types of natures, and yet they are distinct real parts of the whole, that is Supreme Lord. So there are two things, Visheshana and Vishishta. Visheshana means adjective, and Vishishta means of which Visheshana is being made. So there are Visheshanas to the Vishishta. Okay, and the Visheshanas, they definitely exist within the Vishishta. Even though the nature of that Visheshana independently exists, okay, in individuality it exists, but it cannot independently or separately, like out of the existence of the Supreme Lord, it cannot exist. For example, Sundari Balika. Sundari means beautiful and Balika means girl. So the quality of being beautiful, it is definitely and always it is dependent on the noun, or the noun is Balika. Even though the nature, the characteristic of the Sundari is there definitely. Sundari means something which is very beautiful, but it cannot exist without there is a person with attached to that. You cannot just look beautiful. Definitely, there is a person whom you are attributing the quality of beautifulness. So that's why the beauty cannot exist without the noun. The adjective cannot exist without the noun separately. But the adjective definitely is having its own nature, but it is always dependent on the person who is having that attributes. So in the similar way, the energies are there. The Jiva, Jagat, they are the energies, and they have their different natures, different characteristics, and they are the real parts, but they are always dependent on the Ishvara. They cannot just exist separately without the existence of the Supreme Lord. And this similar connection that the Jiva and Jagat, they are completely dependent on the Supreme Lord. In that way, there is non-dual, like there is a monism or there is Advaya Gyan. So in that sense, the word Advaita is being used. But through the word Vishishta, it also means, through the word Vishishta, that there are Visheshanas which have independent nature, which have independent characteristics. Okay, by the word Vishishta, it is also getting denoted that the Jiva and Jagat, they also have nature and characteristics. Okay. And still they are Advaita because they cannot exist without the existence of the Supreme. Any questions in this?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
This Chit and Achit we said is like an adjective, and Ishvara is that is the Lord.
Yes.
And without the Lord, then Chit and Achit don't have any. Like you gave an example of Sundari Balika. So you said that beautiful. It could be a word separately used, but it has to be connected with a noun.
Yes.
Then only it has any meaning. So my question is like, for example, I'm talking about like how the Mayavadis speak or the about Brahman. So like even the beauty can be attributed to in something abstract, like like the Mayavadi could think of the same adjective with Brahman, like we are talking about the Lord, isn't it? That is the personal form, but the same way. Um, they could also attribute that adjective to Brahman. Is it possible? Like,
You were telling Madhu that the Brahman, the qualities which are there, they separately exist, but Brahman is different from that. That you are trying to tell. Brahman is separate and the qualities also exist separately. In that we are telling.
yeah, because now we are saying that you are saying that we are putting these adjectives for Ishvara, right? For Lord.
Yes, 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 yes,
This is the personal theory,
yes,
Vishishta Advaita.
yes.
But whereas if the same thing, if the impersonalists have to do, how they will look into it, because they don't have any attributes of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
For
So
Brahman,
they tell that Brahman is covered by Maya, Madhavi. Brahman is covered by Maya, and that's why in this world we are able to see many different like qualities and different forms. But ultimately, we are also Brahman, but we are covered by Maya. And after when we like our Maya is covered through Jnana process, we will merge in Brahman, and our variegatedness, our qualities which are there will not exist.
so Chit and Achit is not a part of the philosophy
No,
at all.
no. Yes, no, there is no concept like that.
Okay, thank you.
Maya is there definitely. Maya is there. So so ultimately the Maya is covering the Brahman, some part of Brahman, and we are actually thinking that actually we are having false ego. And through the Jnana process, we have to remove that ahankara, false jnana, like the ahankara, false ego. And in that way, by removing all that ahankara, then ultimately we'll merge in Brahman.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
But in ultimate sense, they don't accept this, that there are qualities of any Brahman. Brahman is
Okay.
nirguna. Yes.
Okay.
Then later on, yes, we go. So matter and spirit, chit and achit are his energies. And matter and spirit are divided into two: gross matter and subtle matter, and gross spirit and subtle spirit. So they have this type of four divisions: gross matter, subtle matter, gross spirit, and subtle spirit. So very simple actually, nothing big. Subtle matter and spirit in the state of cause transforms into gross matter and spirit in the state of effect. So Ramanujacharya is explaining that after the destruction happens, all the living entities, they go into the body of Mahavishnu. Okay, after there is a Mahapralaya, after 100 years of Brahma in that way, and then there is a Mahapralaya, then all the living entities, they go to the they go inside the body of Brahma. They go inside the body of Mahavishnu. And similarly, the subtle material energy. So that also it goes into the body of Mahavishnu. And later on, when Mahavishnu he glances on Rama Devi, Rama Devi is his chit potency, and Rama Devi's expansion is Mahamaya. Okay. So then Mahavishnu actually infuses that glance which is there. With that, he infuses all the jivas. He impregnates with the swabhava of the jivas, and different things. And then Mahamaya, then the pradhana, the mahatattva, then it is actually agitated. Then eventually the creation happens. So in the similar way, here subtle matter and spirit, here it is being stated that in the state of cause transforms into gross matter and spirit in the state of effect. So when the creation happens, and when there are 23 elements, when we have these material elements, then only our bodies are made up of 5 different dhatus. But ultimately, when the creation is dissolved, when there's dissolution, then all the living entities, they go inside the body of Mahavishnu, and the subtle and the material energy also it goes inside the Mahavishnu. Okay, it's there inside the body of Mahavishnu. So because the non-dual Supreme Brahman alone is the cause and effect, all the qualities found in effect are present in him. Such qualities are Visheshana of the possessor of qualities, and both spirit and matter are qualities of effect of the Supreme Brahman. So as I discussed this before also, that Supreme Brahman, it is alone the cause and also it is the effect. Okay. So it is the cause in the sense that, for example, explain Upadana Karanam and Nimitta Karanam. Okay. So Nimitta Karanam, it means that the Lord is the ultimate cause. He is the one. And in an effect also, that the Lord's energies are there, like the energies, for example, the spiritual energy and the material energy. So they are also the effect of the Supreme. But the Lord separately, he exists. Okay, the energies are there. So these are the effect, but the Lord separately, he exists. And because the energies cannot exist without the Supreme Lord, so that's why there is non-dualism between the effect on the Supreme Lord, between the energies and the energetic. So that's why all the qualities which are present in effect should definitely be present in him. So what are those qualities which are there in effect? Ramanujacharya is explaining that mainly the qualities of Satchidananda Vigraha, or the or the eternality, or the nityo nityanam chaitanas chaitanam. So these qualities which are there in spirit soul, they should be definitely exist. They should definitely exist in Supreme Brahman. So quality wise we are same, but in quantity we are different. Okay, eventually he's explaining. Both spirit and matter, which are under the shelter of non-dual Brahman, are to be enjoyed by him, are controlled by him, and as an effect, they reveal the identity of the Supreme Brahman, who is the cause. So by studying the nature of the jivas, that is that the jiva, it is indestructible. It cannot be, it is conscious. Okay, and Lord is also conscious. So the minute consciousness is an indicator of supreme consciousness, just as the material body is controlled by the individual spirit soul, and thus it indicates the presence of the soul. For example, the material body is there, and we are seeing that the material body is moving. So through that inference, we are able to understand that spirit soul must be there inside the material body, and it pervades the material body. So similarly, the individual spirit soul, it is the indicator of the supremely conscious super soul. So if through energies we are trying to infer that definitely there should be energetic, because the energies cannot exist without the energetic. So in that way, we are trying to infer the cause through the effect. We are trying to infer qualities in the cause through effect. By studying the qualities of effect, we are thinking, okay, that definitely these qualities, they will reveal the identity of the Supreme Brahman. Okay, mainly the qualities. Okay, the qualities which are there in spirit soul, like for example, about Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam and many other qualities. But in quantity wise, they are different. Then he further explains that the material body and spirit soul are both directly and indirectly connected to the Supreme Lord. However, this does not indicate that the body and soul are identical with the super soul in all respects. For example, there is a mantra: one should buy soma drink with a cow that is brown, 1 year old, and has yellowish eyes. So there is a mantra, it is stated that we should buy soma. There is a soma beverage, and it is stated that in demigod planets, if we take soma drink, then we become immortal. Okay, so there they have that type of in demigod, mainly in heavenly planets, this type of concept is there. And also it is stated that in mountains also we can get this soma. There is a plant out of which this soma drink is extracted. So we should buy soma drink with a cow that is having these many qualities or characteristics. So 1 year old, and which is brown and which has yellowish eyes, they are the adjectives of the cow by which soma drink can be purchased. So similarly, chit and achit, spirit and matter, they are the adjectives and they are the indicators of the super soul. Okay. So just like if we want to buy soma, so we have to buy soma with a cow which are having the activities of which are having the adjectives of 1 year old and is having a yellowish eyes and it is brown. So similarly, the spirit and matter, they are also adjectives, and in that way they are the indicators of the super soul. So through the nature we can infer that the super soul exists. So this is what is called Vishishtadvaita Vada. Then soul is a demigod or human being. It should be understood that such bodies are adjectives of the soul. Okay. So for example, they are given an example. Like in material world, the bodies are adjectives to the soul. Because of our karmic reactions, we are getting different types of bodies. Sometimes due to our pious activities, we are getting demigods bodies. If we do sinful activities, then we get animals bodies. And that's why this material body, it's an imposition on the spirits. And they are the adjectives of the soul, or upadhis, different upadhis. You are black, I am white. These are all upadhis for the soul. The soul is never black or white. The soul is never Indian or American. So as there is relationship between body and spirit, similarly, and that relationship is like a noun and its adjective. Or as there is a relationship between the controller and the controlled, of the enjoyer and the enjoyed. So the spirit soul is eternally related to the super soul. So in that way, the spirit soul is the energy of the Supreme Lord, the Parashakti of the Supreme Lord. And the Achit is Aparashakti of the Supreme. In Vishishtadvaitavad, complete oneness or complete difference, they are all refuted. So complete oneness does not exist. It's not that there is Advaya Gyan, only Advaya Gyan. No. And similarly, complete difference or both are separately existing and they don't have any connection between them. That is also refuted. So through the word Vishishta, we are inferring the Visheshanas. Okay, so we are inferring that there is existence of Visheshana also. And then there is Visheshana and there is oneness between the Visheshana and the Vishishta. So in that way, we are able to conclude that simultaneously oneness and difference, they exist between the super soul and the minute living entity. And the energies, they are the adjectives for the noun, that is Supreme Lord. Then similarly, philosophy in just brief, like it is confirmed in Vedanta Sangraha of Ramanujacharya that one should revive his relationship with the Supreme Lord by spiritual cultivation. One should do Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyajimam Namaskuru and other activities. Okay, we have to think about the Lord, we have to engage in the service of the Lord, and we have to follow Varnashrama principles to maintain our body and soul together. And what is the ultimate goal of life? The ultimate goal of life is to attain the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And else, Chit, Achit, and Ishvara, they are the three truths. Okay. Now, Siddhanta regarding the Jiva. So Ramanujacharya explains that the Jiva, it is distinct from material objects such as material body. Jiva is self-illuminated, full of bliss, eternal, infinitesimal, and not perceived by blunt material eyes. Jiva cannot be cut or pierced by any material object. It is unchangeable, full of knowledge, controlled by Supreme Controller, fully dependent on the Supreme Lord, and meant to be enjoyed by the Lord. And in the soul, there are three categories: Nitya Baddha, or those who are eternally conditioned since time immemorial, and Nitya Mukta, or eternally liberated as eternal associates of the Supreme Lord, like Garuda and other dear associates of the Supreme Lord. And the third category of the soul is Sadhana Siddha, or those who become liberated. Those who come out of the material suffering, the material bondage, and they become liberated, either by sadhana and either by kripa. Then sixth, all living entities are minute parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. The jiva is understood to be very subtle and infinitesimal, like the point of needle. And as light is the energy of fire and does not separate from it, so the spirit souls are parts and parcels of the super soul, and they are also non-different from. Then although nom and its adjectives are related to each other as the whole and its parts, there are differences between their natures and characteristics. So Sundari Balika Shaktiman Purusha. Okay. Shaktiman Purusha. It must be concluded that super soul and individual jivas are not completely identical. In this way, by the example of noun and its adjectives, the difference between the super soul and jivas has been ascertained. The conception of oneness between them exists because an adjective or quality cannot exist independently the noun it qualifies. Okay. So the conception of oneness between them exists because the adjective cannot independently it cannot exist. It has different nature, it has having different characteristic, but it cannot independently exist. It is dependent on the. Okay. So this was regarding the jiva and what
Prabhu,
is.
one
Yes.
question, Prabhu. Regarding this, you said adjective. So if the jiva is an adjective to Ishvara, then what kind of adjective is a jiva to Ishvara?
Energies.
Oh,
Energies. They are we are the energies, and the Lord is the possessor of the energies. So he is
okay. Like
possessor.
for example, if we say part and parcel of the super soul,
Yes.
jiva is a part and parcel of the super soul, then that becomes like a adjective of the jiva.
Huh.
But adjective of the super soul, like we are, um, how to say, what are we to the super soul? Energies, like you say, we are the marginal energy of the Lord. So
Yes,
like
yes.
that.
Yes, Lord is a super soul, Mataji, and we are his parts
Yeah,
and parcels.
yeah. So part
So,
and parcel becomes our adjective, and marginal energy becomes his adjective. Is it like
yes,
that?
yes. Ultimately, yes. Because we are
Okay.
his marginal potency, and there
Okay.
are like many adjectives actually. Qualities are there, like energies. Energies only the parts and parcels. The jivas are the marginal potency, Tatastha Shakti. So Tatastha Shakti is dependent on the Lord, and the Lord is the possessor of Tatastha Shakti. Yes. But Tatastha Shakti cannot independently exist out of the Supreme Lord.
Oh. So that's the only adjective, right? Tatastha Shakti is the only adjective which you are connected with the Lord,
Yeah,
right?
mainly Mataji, here the adjective or qualities we are talking about.
Yeah.
So Ramanacharya is talking about mainly the energies. It could be Tatastha Shakti, it could be our Apara Shakti, this
Bahiranga Shakti.
Hiranga
Yeah.
Shakti. And different, there are not only three Shaktis, Mataji. Even in Puranas, even in Upanishads, it is stated
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
primarily there are three categories of Shaktis: Bahiranga Shakti, Antaranga Shakti, and Tatastha Shaktis. But actually, there are
Yeah.
subcategories of those Shaktis. Even in Antaranga Shaktis, there are 10, 100 different types of Shaktis which are serving the Supreme Lord. I would
Yeah.
like to share the Goloka chapter. Are
Because
you?
let's say the quality eternal, right? So if it is
Yes.
eternal is an adjective, let's say. So eternal is an adjective which is common to both. Like Jiva also is eternal, Shiva, Ishvara is also eternal. But we are eternal, this quality, we are eternal because the Lord is eternal, isn't it?
Yes, Mataji. Yes. So through inferring the Jiva's eternality, we can also infer the Lord's eternality, like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is the whole concept that effect, if it is something is there, then definitely there should be
Yeah,
it should be there in the cause.
cause. Okay. Understood.
So this is Vaikuntha. This is a Golok chart. Uh, it has having all the. This is Golok Vrindavan. This is Vaikuntha, and this is material universe. So if you see in this Vaikuntha, we can see Ananta, Dharma, Jnana, Leela, Vishwaksena, Vairagya, Kurma, Aishwarya, Garuda, Bhu. These are all Shaktis of the Lord. Okay, these are coming under the Antaranga Shakti of the Lord. And these are different subcategories. Ananta Shakti, Bhu Shakti, Leela Shakti. Even in Ramanujacharya, when we go to the temple, then they call it Bhu Shakti, Leela Shakti, different Shaktis are there. So there are subcategories, but ultimately, primarily, if we see, they are all the expansions of Antaramship. Now the Siddhanta regarding the Ishvara.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Govind Madhav, yes.
on the previous slide, the point number 5, 3 kinds of souls.
Yes.
When we are referring soul as a part and parcel of the Lord, at what stage the 3 different kinds? Because soul is not taking birth, not dying. So when we are referring souls 3 kinds like Nitya Baddha, Nitya Mukta, and Sadhana Siddha.
Yeah. Yes.
So if a particular soul, is it changing from one kind to another kind, or they are in the one kind and they stay in the same kind?
Prabhu, they stay in that kind only all time. So, for example, if Nitya Baddha is nothing but because we cannot infer, we cannot like calculate the time when we fall from the spiritual world, when did we came into this material world, and we are taking so many birth lifetimes, so many births we are taking. So that's why, in that sense, the word Baddha or Nitya Baddha is being used, because we cannot calculate the time when we fall from the spiritual world. So the nityata of the baddha, of the nityata of the bondage. So in that sense, we have to like it's not in not in ultimate sense, or not like a literal sense that we are eternally like we are conditioned, because we cannot calculate the time. So that's why we don't have any calculation. That's why the category is there nitya baddha. But ultimately, the Nitya Baddha living entity will eventually become Sadhana Siddha or Kripa Siddha. And Nitya Mukta and Nitya Mukta and Sadhana Siddha or Kripa Siddha, they are both different, and they will exist differently and the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. So in that the Tatastha Shakti, okay, those who are actually sometimes they are having material bondage, and by doing sadhana, so they will they will become liberated. So that is sadhana siddha. But ultimately we also are nitya baddhas, but by doing sadhana we will become sadhana siddha. But nitya mukta, they are different categories of living entities. Like for example, even our Goswamis, they are not sadhana siddha, they are manjaris, and they are nitya mukta. So Nitya Mukta, Jiva Goswami can never fall down from his position, or any of the Goswamis, they cannot fall down from their position and become Nitya Baddha, or they cannot fall from the spiritual world. They are eternally liberated. But we living entities, we fall, and there's separate category, and we have to do sadhana, and then we can become liberated.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So the ideal, conception of the Siddhanta regarding the Supreme Lord. So mainly, Ramanujacharya, he categorizes, he gives 5 categories of the forms of the Supreme Lord. What are those? The first is Para, or the Supreme Absolute Truth, Lakshmi Narayana. Okay, the Supreme Absolute Truth is referring to Lakshmi Narayana. Then the second form is Vyuha, or the quadruple expansions of Supreme Lord Vishnu or Narayana. Okay, so there are quadruple expansions from Sankarshana, ultimately from Balram only. From Sankarshana, from Balram Dev, from Balram only, quadruple expansion, they married from Balram. And again, from Sankarshana, another quadruple expansion, it comes. So there are 2 quadruple expansion. One is like, first time it happens, and another from Sankarshana. And all those have different sevas to perform. For example, you can see can you see the Golok chart now?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes Prabhuji.
Yes, yes. So if you see this Bhumandala, under that there is Sheshanag. Yes, and Sheshanaga is holding the Bhumandala, is balancing that. So Sheshanaga is the expansion of the second quadruple expansion, Sankarshan. Okay, the Sheshanaga is the expansion of second Sankarshan, second quadruple expansion or view. And so this is the second category of the forms of the Supreme Lord. Then the third category is Vibhava. That is incarnations such as Rama, Nrsimha, and different incarnations. Then fourth one is Antaryama or the super soul, which is there in our hearts. Then fifth one is Archavatara or the deity form of the Supreme Lord. Okay. So definitely these are 5 categories, but there are actually many categories. Then eventually also many even in Golok chart you could see there are many categories, many different forms of the Supreme Lord. But primarily these 5 categories are being made. Yes, you can see. Swayam Rupa, Swayam Prakasha, then Prabhav Prakasha, then Vaibhav Prakasha, then Tadekatma Rupa, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna. And in that way, so many different forms are there, different Shaktis are there. So this is another whole very big topic. Then he further explains that by nature, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is faultless. Even though the entire material creation, consisting of gross and subtle objects, is his external body, he is completely aloof from the reactions of karma. For example, it is in our practical experience that those who follow king's orders, they are favored, and those who oppose the king's order, they are punished, while the king is unaffected by that. Then Siddhanta regarding the Prakriti or Jada Prakriti. So he explains that matter or Achit, the second truth, Chit, Achit, and Ishvara, the second truth, it is having 3 kinds: Shuddha Sattva, Mishra Sattva, and Shattva Sunya. So what are they actually? Shuddha Sattva, it is devoid of Rajas and Tamas. It's completely Sattva, devoid of any Rajas and Tamas. And it manifests as the airplane's courtyards in Vaikuntha. Some people refer it Shuddha Sattva as matter, and some people are referring to as antimatter or spiritual. Okay, so sometimes this Shuddha Sattva, they indicate that it is matter. Okay, the things which are existing, which we see, so they are actually they are situated in Shuddha Sattva, devoid of Rajas and Tamas. And another is that through that same energy in like Antaranga Shakti, so it is sustaining all the spiritual objects in Vaikuntha, and they are devoid of Rajas and Tamas. Lord is having 3 primary energies: Ladini, Sandhini, and Sambit. So in that Sandhini, through Sandhini Shakti, the Lord, the things which are there in spiritual world, they exist through Sandhini Shakti. They are in the Sandhini Shakti. And the perverted form of Sandhini Shakti in the material world, that is material things, material objects which we perceive through our blunt eyes. So it's the perverted reflection of the Sandhini. Similarly, Ladini. Ladini is the love, the supreme, the love which is exchanged between Radha and Krishna, or the happiness which is there. But the temporary happiness which is material, that we can experience in this material, but that is different from the spiritual happiness. Similarly, Sambit. Sambit is what? Spiritual knowledge which exists in the spiritual world. And Sambit in the material world, it is material knowledge, or the knowledge of material things, physics, chemistry. These are all perverted reflection of the Sambit potential. Then another category is Mishra Sattva Achit, combination of the three modes, all the three modes of material nature. It covers and these three modes, what do? They cover the real knowledge, the Swarupa, and we forget about the knowledge of the Supreme and happiness of those whose consciousness it covers. Bhayam dvitiyabhineveshadasya ishad apetasya viparyayo smriti. We have viparyaya smriti. Okay. So all the smriti which we have, that we are eternally servant of the Lord, that we eventually forget because of constant association with the three modes of material nature. Then the third category is Sattva Shunya Achit. So according to Ramananda Sampradaya, the Kala or time, it is actually devoid of any gunas. It is devoid of any, like this type of any gunas. Sattva guna, rajo guna, tamam. It is Shunya. And Kala transforms into material objects such as wood, but it is eternal and assists the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So similarly, because this Kala is there in spiritual world also, and it is there in material world also. But in the spiritual world, the Kala is directly being controlled by the Supreme Lord, and it is eternal. The Kala is eternal. And it is assisting in the pastimes of the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. But in the material world, everything which is happening in the material world, everything is changing. Okay. For example, there is a book, it will be burnt after some time. So the pages, they are changing into the ash, like the ashes. So in that way, there is always change of the things which is happening under the jurisdiction of the time, which is acting in the material world and also in the spiritual world. So both Shuddha Sattva Achit and Mishra Sattva Achit are meant to be enjoyed by the Supreme Lord and the Jiva. Okay, so the Shuddha Sattva Achit, or the things which are there in the spiritual world, they are always being enjoyed by the Supreme Lord, which is there, and also by the Jiva. And also Mishra Sattva Achit. So here, in details, we have to see more in details how he is referring that Mishra Sattva Achit, how that is being enjoyed by the Supreme Lord. But definitely under the three modes of nature, the jivas are working, okay, and they are getting the fruits of their actions. So I don't want to speculate what is this, how that Mishra Sattva Achit, it is being enjoyed by the Supreme Lord. But definitely there could be more explanation through this about this thing, that how Mishra Sattva is actually enjoyed by the Supreme Lord. So these are the three primary categories of the Achit. And now we will understand the Shakti Parinam Vada. Okay, already it is 8:30. So Shakti Parinam Vada, gross and subtle matter and spirit are forms of the Supreme Brahman. So before also I explained there are four things: gross matter and subtle matter, and gross spirit and subtle spirit. They are all the forms of the Supreme Brahman.
Prabhu, can we do this tomorrow? Because it's or you don't have the time, is it?
Yeah. Actually,
Because
just need to complete, Mataji. Nothing much is there. I was
there's a
just
lot of things.
mainly then we'll be talking about the goals of that, and Shakti Parinam Bad is there, and then 5 types of worship. Yeah, no problem. Then tomorrow we can
No,
we
it's
can
okay. We can continue.
yes. Just Madhuri, 5 minutes more, then I will.
No problem. No problem.
So before the creation, the subtle material Lord, the subtle material energy remains with the Supreme Lord, like a green bird merged within a forest. But simultaneously, it remains there as distinct from Brahman, without any name, without any form, and so on. And at creation, the subtle material energy emanates from the body of Brahman. Okay. And after being divided into names and forms, it transforms into gross elements As a spider manifests its web from its body while remaining unchanged, Supreme Lord, Supreme Brahman remains unchanged. So Shakti Parinama Vada. So there are Shaktis within the Supreme Lord. Okay, and there is Parinama, and it comes in the effect. When the energy it takes form, different forms, it is there in the different gross elements. But the Supreme Lord, he is unchanged. It's not that when the Shaktis they get forms, when the Shakti is coming out of the Supreme Lord and it's getting the gross forms, so then Supreme Brahman is also distributed in that energies. And the Lord does not have his own personal form. No, it is not like that. And even when the energies which are there in the subtle way in the body of the Supreme Lord, they also distinctly exist. Just like, for example, there is a parrot or there is a green bird in a forest. So sometimes we could not be able to see, okay, because both are having same color, the green bird and the green forest. But definitely the green bird is not merging with the forest. The green bird is also having separate form, identity, other than the in the forest. Okay. So similarly, the subtle matter or the energies which are there in the subtle form, they are existing within the Supreme Lord distinctly. Okay. It's not that they are like some type of merging. It's not like that. They also exist distinctly, but energies are there in the subtle form in the Supreme Lord before the creation. And after the creation happens, then the subtle energy converts into the material, in the gross. It gets gross forms and it has names, forms. But when it is there inside the Supreme Lord's body, then it does not have any name or forms. So that is only the Shakti Parinamavada. Shaktis are there, and when it is in Parinama or when it is there in effect, so the Lord remains unchanged. Then what are the 5 types of worship? Abhigamana, Upadana, Ijya, Swadhyaya, and Bhagavad Anusandhana. So Abhigamana means cleansing the Lord's temple, courtyard, and procession path. Upadana means collecting the ingredients for worship. Ijya means offering worship to the Lord Vishnu. Swadhyaya means chanting mantras while meditating on the meanings and discussing Vaishnava literatures. So these are all worship, different types of worship, which simultaneously different devotees do at the same time. Then Bhagavad Anusandhana, cultivation of devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And definitely there are many intricacies between the terms which are being used. Like for example, Abhigamana means serving, like can say that. Then Upadana means collecting the ingredients for worship. Then Ijya is like worshipping the Supreme Lord. Okay. Then Bhagavad Anusandhana, in that while we are cultivating devotional service to the Supreme Lord, in that also there are many different activities. It is mentioned in the scriptures. Yesterday I was studying that. There are many different things, actually, what is the process which the devotees who follow Ramanuja Sampradaya, they follow. But in the broad categories, in the broader way, we can find these are all the 5 types of worship. Then at the last, what is the goal of the life? So the perfectional stage of life is attained by pleasing the Supreme Lord by the execution of devotional service. One attains the direct seva of Lakshmi Narayan in the mood of unalloyed dasya rasa by maintaining the conviction that the lotus feet of Lakshmi Narayan are all in all, either while living or after death. So Ramanujacharya taught that we have to engage. Okay, we have to, our goal of life is to serve the Lord in the mood of Dasya Rasa, primarily Dasya Rasa. And our ultimate goal is to attain Vaikuntha and engage in the service of Lakshmi Narayana. That is the main. Then further, there are some two sects of Sri Vaishnavism. Okay, Sri Vaishnavism, Vadagalai or the northern school, and Tengalai. So in the last class also I explained. So there is some history that how the Sri Vaishnavism was actually divided into two sects. So the northern school, which was there in the in some, there is some history that they were actually situated there. And what they used to follow, actually, they consider the Sanskrit scriptures, the Vedas, more authoritative than the Tamil scriptures or the Divya Prabandha. So the Vadagalai sect, they considered that the Sanskrit scriptures, the Vedas, they are more authoritative than the Divya Prabandham. Divya Prabandham is the collection of 4,000 verses written by different alvars. Alvars are like the Acharyas of the Sri Sampradaya. Like we have our Acharyas, Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. Similarly, in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, primarily they consider 11 Alvaras. And they are there. And the 11 Alvaras, they have written many verses glorifying the Supreme Lord. And the collection of those verses, 4,000 verses, that constitutes Divya Prabandha. Tengalai, they are opposite of Vadagalai. They consider Divya Prabandham more authoritative than the Vedas. Then the second is based on the views of Vedanta Deshika. Okay, so Vadagalai is the school. It is based on the views of the Vedanta Deshika. Vedanta Deshika also happened, he was a descendant of Srila Ramanujacharya. About him also there's a huge discussion and his own biography. Yes. And Vadagalai, they accept the Markata Nyaya for moksha. In order to achieve moksha, they believe that we have to follow Markata Nyaya. And Tengalai, they accept, the southern school, they accept Marjala Nyaya or cat's model for moksha. Now, what is the difference between that? Cat's model and Markata Nyaya. So Vadagalai sect, they accept that, for example, the child of monkey, when the monkey is moving, so the child is like he is catching the body of monkey, like her mother, of his mother. So the effort is being put by the child. The complete effort is being put by the child. In order to move, for example, the monkey is moving and the child is there. So in order to not get fallen, not to get fallen on the way, that's the complete responsibility is there on the child of the monkey. The complete responsibility is there on the child, not on the mother monkey. If the child monkey leaves the body of monkey, or his mother, then the child will fall. So the concept is that the emphasis is given on the efforts than the grace. So mainly the effort is more emphasized. If you don't do any effort, then you will fall. Or similarly, like if the child monkey, if he leaves the body of mother, then he will fall. So in Vadagalai sect, they follow the Markata Nyaya and they put more emphasis on effort part than grace part. They tell that we have to put more effort and we will get return mercy. And they have more emphasis on that. But in Tengalai school, they follow the Nyaya of cat. The cat mother will take the child through his mouth. When cat will move, will take the child. So he will take the child through his mouth. And that we know that the teeth of the cat are very strong, okay, and if there is some little bit also, if the cat improperly, if she holds the child cat, the kitten, then the kitten will get hurt. Okay, so there is complete dependence on the mother cat. So in Tengalai sect, they emphasize on grace than the effort. They believe that ultimately by the grace only of the Supreme Lord, we will be getting the moksha. So it is not that they don't do any such type of sadhana. They do sadhana, but they put more emphasis on the mercy of the Supreme. So these are the two different ideologies of the two different sects of Sri Vaishnavism. And thus, in the next class, we'll be discussing about Madhvacharya, his life and his teachings. Okay, so any questions?
Today's class was very nice, Prabhu. Could understand a lot of points very nicely explained. Thank you very much for all the efforts you're putting.
Actually, Mataji, more effort has to be put, actually, especially in Ramanuja Sampradaya, Ramanuja's philosophy.
Yeah, there's a
Because I
lot.
was talking with some of the students who are studying Ramanuja's philosophy here, and they are in the BA program. They are studying in Sanskrit University. So they also told that it is very difficult. It's difficult actually to get into the intricacies of Ramanuja's philosophy. And there are many details, Mataji. So many things are being like even in Bhakti Marga, even whatever Prabhupada has explained, in that also you could find there are many things. Jiva, how Jiva falls, and there is Bhakti, and in Bhakti also there are so Navavida Bhakti, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is explaining everything, how progressively we actually reach Prema, and then Jiva Goswami and Rupa Goswami is explaining so many things, and Jiva Goswami is also explaining so many things in this Sandarbha. Similarly, in Ramanuja's Sampradaya also there Alvaras happened. Alvars happened, and they also explain many things in their Divya Prabandha. And in the life of Ramanacharya, he wrote commentaries on Vedanta Sutra, on Bhagavad Gita, on Srimad Bhagavatam, and different scriptures. And thus, he has explained so many things. So it would be like difficult to go into each and every detail of how he's telling and
Yeah,
how it
but
works.
very nicely summed up, Prabhu. Very
Yeah.
nicely. Thank you very much for your hard work.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
You mentioned that there are a lot of websites
Yes.
to understand this more deeper, for deeper understanding. Is it possible for you to share any of those links, sir? Links,
Yes,
Prabhu?
Prabhu. Yes, I will share you. There is a Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya website, and and there are scholars who are writing blogs, and they are explaining different concepts of different like philosophical things. They are explaining from scriptures of Ramanujacharya. So I will definitely share that website's link in the group.
Yeah, that will really help us, Prabhu.
Yes, there are so many things actually. That website is having many blogs and many different. They are explaining in details also about each and every aspect about Achit, about Chit, about Ishvara, and what is the goal of life actually, and how after death what happens, how do we get moksha. So that is also in very much detail, and what are the teachings of Vedanta Deshika, and how do they put tilaka even in this Badagalai school, the tilaka style, they have different style of putting tilaka. In Tengalai school they have different style of putting tilaka. So here in Tirupati they follow Tengalai sect of Sri Vishnu.
Prabhuji, for us, are we, I mean, just I'm trying to check if my understanding is correct or not. Are we following the Vadagalai school of the thought because it is like a more Nyaya for us? if we don't do our sadhana, then it is up to us. So it is not like the marjala nyaya that someone, mother or someone else is taking care of that. So is that understanding right, that possibly if we want to take a look at these two sects, so we belong into the Vadagalai school of thought,
Prabhu, one
or
thing we
we
have
are
to
totally
understand,
different?
that I cannot we cannot clearly like explain, like we cannot clearly tell, okay, that Vadagalai school only we are following completely. Because
Okay.
in Vadagalai school also there are many intricacies and many differences which are there between Gaudiya Vaishnavism and Vadagalai Sampradaya. So these three are just major differences I just listed it down. But actually there are hundreds of differences between Vadagalai and Tengalai school. And there are some things, Prabhu, that even contradicts with our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya with Vadagalai Sampradaya. So we cannot completely, yeah, there could be some concept, there could be some things which we are following like in Vadagalai Sampradaya, but not completely.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Like even the views of with Vadagalai, they tell that ultimate goal of life is to attain Lakshmi Narayana. So in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, it is not. Our ultimate goal is to attain Golokunda. And there are
Right.
many different verses, Sakya Rasa, Madhurya Rasa, Shanta Rasa. Okay. So we'll conclude here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Sri Ramanujacharya ki.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, Archana Mataji. Today we met Bhaktika Mataji.
Jai. Okay. Thank you very much.
Told your regards to her. Today we went outside. Actually, she has some problem. I think she has diabetes. I think. So for her, we brought some type of slippers, some special types of slippers with her.
Okay.
Yeah. So myself.
Okay, I will call her one of these days.
Yeah, yeah.
Not spoken to her for a long time. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.